Hi, welcome to a slightly different video. It is diamond painting related, but it's not me actually diamond painting. This is how to seal your diamond paintings. Now, first of all, I want to say, if you're putting the diamond painting in a frame that has some sort of protector on front, be it plexiglass or glass, you don't need to do this. Also, if you bought the diamond painting from a reputable higher end diamond painting company, you don't have to do this. But if you bought a cheap set off Amazon, sealing them is just kind of a good way to make sure you don't lose any of the diamonds. Because after all the work to make this all shiny and pretty, you want it to stay looking shiny and pretty. So I'm going to focus the camera down and we're going to get this taken care of. Okay, so this is the first one I'm going to do. And this one is actually also a Christmas present. It is going to my son's mom because she loves skeleton-y things, and this will just suit her rather well. So I'm using the Mod Podge. And first thing you gotta do is remove the cover. Now this is very, very thin, and I'm not used to Mod Podge being this thin, but I haven't bought new Mod Podge in probably 20 years. So maybe it's thin when you first get it. I don't know. It's kind of, I've always seen it be Elmer glue consistency. And I'm going to try a couple of different ways to do this. The first thing I'm going to try is a scraper tool. So what I'm going to do is just pour a line of it there. I'm not going to start with too much. And then we're going to just spread it over. And I know it's very, very white right now. Don't worry about it. Mod Podge dries clear. It dyes clear too. You want to make sure you get it over every diamond. So just scrape it till you have a nice thin layer over everything. I'm probably going to have to add more, which is fine. And you can use Mod Podge to seal a lot of things. It's a very useful project as a glue, if you want to do collage work with tissue paper or anything like that. It's just very, very useful product. Sometimes when I add 3D aspects to my resin jugs. Hi guys, I just want to say this was filmed in the middle of a flare-up, and one of the things that comes with flare-up is foggy brain syndrome. So I know I'm using a lot of wrong words, and you have no idea how much empty air I am cutting out while I'm trying to come up with those not quite but sort of kind of right words. Filming while I'm in a flare-up triples the amount of editing I have to do, but I get real frustrated just laying in bed doing nothing, and this was a project I could work on that didn't require a lot of strength or time. And what I should have probably been doing is editing at my computer, but I don't like to edit. I don't know if you've picked up on that. That's the reason why videos are not coming out faster. Has nothing to do with the rate I'm filming them. I have about 5, 6, 7 videos in backlog that just freaking need editing, but I hate editing. I don't hate editing, I just don't like editing. But yeah, I apologize for all the weird words. I don't make resin jugs, I make resin mugs. And even that I haven't done in a long time. So anyways, there's going to be a lot more of this in the videos that I filmed this weekend. There's only 3 or 4 of them, but sorry. Welcome to the foggy brain part of the flare-up. I used Mod Podge kind of as a layer to help seal them in. Also, if I'm putting glitter on, a lot of glitter, I will use Mod Podge to help seal the glitter before the resin, and that just kind of keeps it in place. And it's okay if it goes over the edges a little bit. That's just going to seal the glue that's kind of around the diamond painting. Maybe didn't want it to go that far off the edge, but that's okay. We are making this work. Do want it to be even. And it's okay, like you can see some of the tops of the gems through it. That's totally fine. You just need a thin layer on it to create that seal. Now I can see that a couple diamonds did come off, and that's going to be okay. I'm just picking them up. I'm going to use a scrap something. Just kind of wipe around the edges a little bit. Wipe off the table. Wipe off that. Just use that to make sure it gets in all the spots really good. And if I need to fix by putting 1 or 2 spots of glue back on it later, I'll be able to. Or 1 or 2 dots back on it later. I'll be able to. So it's that fast. And it's already sealed. You just need to let it dry. I would let it dry for a good 24 to 48 hours before working on it, and let it dry on a flat surface. There is one done. Now let's do the next one. I would like to hang this one somewhere in our library, which is where we are right now. And I haven't used, like, I don't know if you can see, but I have not used very much of this. But I am going to hit this one with slightly more to start with, see if I can get it in one go. That might not have been the best idea. I don't know. In crafting, there are no mistakes. There are opportunities to learn and be creative. That is not something my mother taught me. My mother taught me there are mistakes. But she was an artist able to create perfection. And I am not. I think we might have got just about the perfect amount. Just to the edge, get the corner, that spot there, that doesn't want to get got. You don't want to press too hard because that will raise the diamonds and pull them off. You're probably going to have a little bit of diamond loss while doing this. Just plan on it. Plan knowing you're going to have to fix later. It's not that big a deal. There we go. That looks pretty good. It'll level out as it dries. And that one's ready to dry and then be framed and hung in our library. The last one is a set of 2. I only have 1 finished right now, but it's going in our bedroom. This is my favorite one that I've done in a while. I once tried to do a larger Beauty and the Beast one that had both Beauty and the Beast kind of holding the rose. And it was too big for me at the time, and I eventually just got super frustrated and gave up. The irony is it was about half to a third of the size of the one I'm working on now for Dad's Christmas present. But my patience and skill level has increased, as has my stubbornness. And when I know I'm doing something for someone, I'm more likely to push through the frustration. Plus, that one had some, like, issues. It was an inexpensive one. It just happened to be a really big, inexpensive one. Whereas the one I'm doing now, I'm having a lot less issues and it's a lot easier to get done. Once it's completely sealed, I will probably trim the edges a little bit. And then when I get frames for these, which I don't think the frames, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do frames or if I'm going to build wooden kind of frames to go around them. If I do the wooden frames, I will just fold in the sides like I'm doing here and staple it. I haven't decided yet. It's kind of a matter of how accurately can I get Wolf to cut the wood that we have outside and how much do frames cost. And does that cost outweigh the frustration of him cutting wood to exact sizes and mitering the corners? Me mitering the corners then, since he says he can't miter corners. What? Honey, you turn it diagonally on the saw and cut it at a 45-degree angle. I don't need fancy. I just need them to fit together. So we'll see which one of those gets done. Wolf is super, super handy, and I know it often looks like I'm not. But when it comes to woodworking and stuff, there are some skills I have that he doesn't, just because of the years of theater production I've done that required sometimes some weird, odd skills, whereas he's done more building and fixing stuff. So it's just there's some techniques I had to learn that he's never had to do. He'd be perfectly capable if I showed him like once. In fact, he'd probably do it better than me if I showed him like once. Because he is better at that stuff than I am. I just had a little training he didn't have. Basically, I took a fancy wood shop class in high school. Wood shop / electrical engineering / sound engineering / a bunch of other stuff. And I also took it in college. Because I had a tech scholarship. So that's it. They're that easy. Doing 3 of them took about half the bottle. Let's see if I can show you. No, of course not. But the when I hold it up to the line, it's about that much left. Or up to the light, there's that much left. So I've used between 1/3 and half of the bottle, which means I have plenty left for Beast and whatever else I do. I will not be sealing the paintings for Mom and Dad. We'll be getting frames for those. And they're just a higher quality diamond painting. So that's it. It really does take about 15 minutes, so about 5 minutes of painting. And I'll show you what they look like when they're done right now. Hi everyone, it is the next morning and I wanted to show you what the finished diamond paintings look like after they've been sealed. So here's the first one. This is the one that's going to be the Christmas present for my son's mother. It's got kind of a weird spot on it where it looks like it pooled funny, so I'll probably do a patch job right there. But looks just as glossy as it did, and the diamonds are all stable, still flimsy. So I do need to do a slight patch job in one spot, but overall it came out really nice, and these gems aren't going anywhere. So then the next one that'll be hung in here somewhere, the witch's hat and books. This one came out perfect. There's a little spot that's still drying, just because it's really early in the morning and I got up too early, but I think it's gorgeous. It doesn't take away any of the shine. In fact, it might even add a little bit, and it's absolutely perfect. And again, none of those are going anywhere. So Belle got the thickest coat, and she is still drying. You can still see some white places on her, but she's pretty well into the drying process, and she's looking good. She's looking very sparkly, and these diamonds not going anywhere. So this way, if I want to just measure some wooden pieces, I will fold that over and staple it to the wood, so all you see is the diamond painting. That's kind of the easiest way I like to frame these. You can just cut the sides off and like drive a nail through it. You can do whatever you want. You can put them in a frame, whatever. I like turning them into like a full stretched canvas with the wood. It just takes some exact measuring to do that, nail it together, and then staple. You will cut this corner out to do that. It's very, very simple. So yeah, there's 3 diamond paintings completely done, ready for display on the wall. And I hope that helps. And yeah, that's the end of that journey. It's always a little bit sad once they get sealed because it's like they're done. I won't be doing this one again. Once it goes on the wall, I won't touch it again. But it's also kind of exciting because I know I have other paintings to work on. And yeah, like I said, you don't have to do this with higher end diamond paintings. The glue they use is sticky enough. You don't have to do this if you know you're putting them behind glass or plexiglass, because that will hold it in. I just don't know on these whether I'm building my own frames or if I'm just going to put them in like a no cover frame. I haven't decided yet, so I just go ahead and seal them. And they're inexpensive. They were from Amazon. I think I paid $15 for 2 for the set of Beauty and the Beast, and then each of these were like $10 each. Now, I do not endorse Amazon diamond paintings, but I also understand a lot of us are broke. And that is a way to be able to continue and doing something with my hands while I'm sitting down makes a big difference on my mental health. I don't sit still well, so I use these as a way to keep my mind fully engaged. I was always very, very lucky. I was born pretty smart. My parents are both very smart. And that means my brain does not handle downtime well. And my body physically can't, like, I can't get a standing table and like walk while I work. My body will not function with that. So if I want to watch videos, I either need to be trying to fall asleep or doing something. Because watching videos does not keep enough of my brain engaged. Sometimes it does. Like the new Wednesday Addams series, I couldn't work on something while I was watching that because that was cool and exciting. The new Hazbin Hotel series, whenever there's a new Helluva Boss, yeah, I can fully engage in those without doing something, but I usually am doing something. It's just then I'm usually doing something a little more mindless, like playing a very simple game, or I don't know, sometimes I'm diamond painting on those too. I just don't sit still well. That's my current psychiatrist. She wanted to try me on ADHD meds that also work as OCD meds, hoping that those helped. Those are the ones that gave me goodbye thoughts. So we went back to the strictly OCD meds, which aren't working as well as the compound I had when I first got diagnosed, but my insurance doesn't cover compounds, and I can only afford my meds if my insurance cover most of it, so these are okay. They have some side effects I'm not thrilled with, but is what it is, you know. They work relatively well. I can tell, like, they upped my dosage 2 weeks ago because I had gone back to counting footsteps, to counting in my head, to doing some of my tics. Not like Tourette's tics, but like just things I do, like I will hit my hand against things in a specific pattern until, like, without paying attention. I count everything. I'm always counting in my head, just picking at sores or scabs or bumps Usually on me, occasionally on anything around me, which it really bothered me when I was doing it with my toy poodle, because she had a little lump on her hip right here, and I just could not leave it alone, and it hurt her. And that killed me to know I hurt her. But if she was just like curled up next to me, my hand would just go there without me thinking about it. And that's kind of one of the things that made me realize I needed to get some assistance dealing with this, because it's one thing to hurt yourself, it's another thing to hurt your animal. And when I say hurt, like, I never, like, it caused it to open or caused her to bleed, and it wasn't significant pain. It just got where I get near that spot and she'd go, it's like, oh, oops, sorry, dog. Mostly I will pick at myself. So I do, I mean, you can't, well, I don't know, maybe you can see that right there. That is a scar from where I had a small injury and I couldn't leave it alone. I have that right now, and it takes everything I have to leave it alone and let it heal. The same thing when I would have pimples or things like that. Luckily, I don't get many outbreaks anymore, so that's not so much of a problem. But my OCD is very mild compared to a lot of people. I can fully function with it. I just have a few things that I don't want to be a part of my life, like the scratching and picking, and the counting of everything, the counting my footsteps, counting keystrokes. It annoys me, and it takes up brain power that I don't like. I also rock. I don't do that as often, but I do it when I'm trying not to stim. Which, since I've been talking about them all, I very much want to do right now. There is a school of thought that thinks that OCD might be a type of autism. And I do subscribe to that particular school of thought. It's not proven, it's not like endorsed by X number of doctors or anything. It's just, it's something they are considering and looking into and seeing if there's a connection. And personally, I think a lot of my uniquenesses align as well with autism as they do OCD. And I've discussed this theory with my psychiatrist, and she is undecided if she thinks OCD is part of autism. She did offer to test me for autism, but honestly, I feel like the OCD being under control is my main goal. I don't care if I have both. I'm very high functioning, and that's all I need to know. I just need a little bit of help. And so I've found games, and one of the really cool things about my job, I scheduled a little girl last week whose mom says she thinks she has OCD. She constantly wants to rearrange the pantry, and she wants to do tasks like that. And she's noticed that it's brought on when she's stressed out. She wants to put everything in specific orders, and she needs to have a plan. And she's... Sorry, it's early. She's terrified her daughter has OCD. And so I kind of spent some time talking to her. And because I'm not a therapist, it's okay if I sometimes share my experience. And I'm very open at this point about having OCD. And I talked to her about my experience as a child, as an adult, on how I have found ways to turn this into a superpower, and I have found ways to control the more negative parts. And she needs to treat her daughter not as if she's deficient in some way, but as if she's gifted. And it's learning to control those gifts, you know? It's no different than Tony Stark or Spider-Man or Captain America. They have gifts. And I don't mean Tony Stark's money. He had the intelligence to figure out how to use it. Those are all gifts. And they're people who are just a little bit different, but they figure out how to use those differences for good. And I think, for the most part, those of us who are neurodivergent, once we learn to master or endure or command the parts of our, I don't want to say disease because it's not a disease, the parts of our condition that aren't pleasant, then we can focus on figuring out how the rest of it is a superpower and how we can use that to be successful in a world that isn't built for us but values individuality and values creative thinking and all the other stuff. I'm a whiz with Excel. In fact, I'm working on a project for this video that involves creating an extensive Excel spreadsheet to analyze some choices that a particular beauty brand or beauty review brand has made and announced recently. If you don't, but yeah. So diamond paintings are one of my happy places. I have lots of happy places, and now I'm gonna go film me in another of my happy places because that video is supposed to go live today. This one's supposed to go live tomorrow. So I hope you all have a great day. You can hear my voice a little scratchy. That's okay. And I will see you tomorrow.